The president slamming Facebook this week, accusing the social media site as always having been, quote, anti-Trump. Now, Facebook's CEO hit back at the claims of bias, saying, and I quote, Trump says Facebook is against him. Liberals say we help Trump. Both sides are upset about ideas and content they don't like. That's what running a platform for all ideas looks like. Now, Steve, almost half of U.S. Facebook users say they get their news from Facebook, so this is very serious stuff. Who's got it right?
Sadly, David, conservatives are getting the shaft from Facebook. You see it on sites, the conservative websites, the postings on Facebook, very difficult to do. They've been cracking down on it. This is not extreme stuff. This is good conservative stuff. So there is bias in there, and Zuckerberg ought to address it because he and these other big tech companies are going to face more and more political pressures as the bigger they get. So heed the cries of conservatives.
Bruce, here's what the cry from President Trump is, and I'm quoting in a tweet. Facebook was always anti-Trump. The networks were always anti-Trump. Hence, fake news. New York Times apologized, and Washington Post were anti-Trump. Collusion? Question mark. What say you?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know where to begin here. He's such a whiner. He is such a I need a breath here. He's such a whiner. I mean, he had passes, and they showed all of his rallies during the campaign. He's President of the United States. Come on, just be president.
But, Rich, it is a fact that former Facebook workers said that they were routinely suppressing conservative news. I mean, that came out about a year ago.
Hey, Facebook is based in the San Francisco Bay Area. What else would you expect? But I think it's wrong for the president to criticize them by name. Look, we conservatives certainly didn't like it when President Obama bashed private jets, which was devastating to the economy of Wichita, Kansas. So I think we need to be consistent here. Presidents should not attack privately run companies.
Sabrina, what say you?
Yeah, and I actually really don't care if they're biased one way or the other. I don't pay for Facebook. They are not, in my mind, a news outlet. They are a social platform, and I think that we need to stop thinking of them as such a behemoth that we
right.
Getting so caught up in this. The fact is, none of us are actually paying them a cent. They can do whatever they want.
Well, that's a good point. And John, I'd save my outrage for NPR, which we are paying a part of, and they seem to, in my mind, to be even more biased than Facebook.
Yes, Sabrina's absolutely right. Mark Zuckerberg should tell Donald Trump it's none of his business what he does with his private business. And I would just add, though, I love when a president is so distracted by the inconsequential. Pray he does this all the time.
You just don't want him to do anything, right?
Yes,
that's the point.
right.
But, Emac, 45% of Americans get their news from Facebook. There is a kind of a public trust now that Facebook has, right?
No, I don't. I agree with Sabrina and Rich. They're a private company. They can get your news elsewhere. I don't think the president should attack Facebook like this in this manner. But I think Facebook needs to own up and fess up that it is a media shop.
Steve?
Yeah, and the fact is, even though the law says one thing, if you get big and people feel that you're not treating everyone fairly, AT&T in the old days before the 1980s went out of its way to make sure everyone was taken care of. Facebook should follow that example or they're going to suffer political consequences. Just a fact of life.
Rich, we only have about 20 seconds. Is that culture out in Silicon Valley ever going to change?
It's one that the East Coast doesn't understand. The most powerful capitalists, the people who work the hardest in the country are out here, but they have different social views than conservatives do.
All right. Thanks, gang. Coming up, the stocks that could take off when taxes go down. Our informers are next.